What is going on, everyone? Welcome back. It is April 16th. We are 9 days away. It's crazy to say from the draft. And we have the 104 drafting a big board. Gonna go with Jamar Chase. Keep it simple. He's our 104 here. We're not trying to diversify. We're just fine to take Jamar Chase. Yeah. Yep. It's a beautiful day outside. 8:17 a.m. in the Midwest. Finally starting to get nice out here. You go through 4 to 5 months of awful weather, really not fun weather to live in. And then you experience like a tropical island for 4 to 5 months. And then there's like purgatory, which is October and November. But yeah, this is we love this season. This is the best time of the year. The weather's starting to get nice. The football best ball season is starting to kick into high gear once we get over and done with the draft. That's when the wheels are really up, and we can start drafting stuff like the BBM. Oh, I can't wait to start drafting BBM. I can't wait to start drafting weekly winners, stuff like that. So I'm definitely very excited for what's right around the corner, football best ball wise. And yeah, don't see anything crazy really going on. I mean, you see Kyron go at the 110, which is, I guess, relatively crazy, but it's fine, you know. If Kyron's the workhorse, he returns that value easily, yada yada. So with Jamar Chase, I'm definitely at least 50% of the time trying to take Joe Burrow here with Jamar Chase on this team. Because if I'm betting on Jamar Chase, taking him at the 104, I'm also betting on Joe Burrow to have a very good year too. They go hand in hand together. So I'm yeah, at least at a 50% clip. Like, and that might even be too low, honestly. Like a 75% clip might even be objectively like the share you're looking for at floor wise with your Joe Burrow and Jamar Chases, because Jamar Chase does not win through rushing ever, obviously. So his tie to Joe Burrow is very relevant. Whether Joe Burrow gets injured or then Jamar Chase still has a lead upside, I think we saw last year. The answer is not really. Like it's kind of there, but it's just not the same. We know it's not the same. Ayuk trade rumors starting to float around. Not really too sure what to think about that. I think how I'm gonna respond to all of the Ayuk nonsense is probably just taking an absurd amount of Debo Samuel or Chris Olave, just because what they are to their teams, it's safe. We know that their wide receiver one upside is there every week if they're on the field for their team, you know? So that's my take on that. And now this is tough because it's like, do I take Debo? Do I take Olave? I think the answer is Olave. Purely for uniqueness. There are infinite spots here where I have Jamar and then go Debo in the first and second round. That's a very likely combination for me. So I don't want to have all of my Jamar Chase teams with a lot of Debo. I'm down for a good amount of Debo with them, but need to try and tone that back a little bit for sure. And then that doesn't mean I'm not opposed to picking Debo in the third, because if I get Jamar, Chris Olave, and Debo, that's nice. You know, that's nice. If I don't get that, I would be very happy with either Jalen Waddle or Josh Jacobs. Both of those players would be sweet. We see Diggs and Collins go, which I love. I'm more of a Tank Dell guy myself. uh, I don't know how that situation is going to pan out. It's going to be really interesting to see. I would be shocked to see Diggs be the number one though, by far. Like I feel like there is such a little chance that that ends up being the alpha there. Like it's if Diggs ends up being a legit one there, I feel like it's at least gonna be a 1B situation. And between Dell and Nico Collins, who knows? But I don't see Diggs being in the range of outcomes. I feel like it's more likely that Dell or Collins ends up eating harder, but we'll see. Maybe Diggs just really was not trying at all at the end of last year. It legit could be that. So we'll see. And yeah, definitely just gonna pick Josh Jacobs here. The Packers have made it very clear what kind of run game that they want to do. AJ Dillon is still on the roster. They let go of Aaron Jones. And now it's Josh Jacobs time, baby. They're a power run game. I like this is a team where I don't see Jordan Love doing the tush push. And now that they have Josh Jacobs is live to scoring an absurd amount of touchdowns. An absurd amount of touchdowns. I just don't see them doing the tush push with Jordan Love. They didn't try it at all last year. Don't really see a point when they have Dillon and Jacobs, to be honest, as well. I feel like that's well, I mean, the stats would actually probably argue that the tush push is just too broken, but like bro science wise, I feel like Josh Jacobs and AJ Dillon on the goal line is pretty good too. So, yeah, we'll go with that. And obviously he's going to be the major workhorse there. If they drafted someone above round 3, I'd be shocked. I'd be really shocked if they drafted a running back above round 3 because they have holes that they need to fill on defense. And I feel like this is going to be a very defense or offensive line based draft for the Packers because all their skill positions on offense are essentially filled now. Like they're set with Jordan Love. Their wide receiver room is probably the deepest in the league. And then tight ends, they have 2 great multi-utility tight ends. So, I mean, their offense skill position wise is pretty nice. So, I just don't see them going to running back. Unless they want a thunder and lightning, and Dillon's not what they're looking for. I mean, Dillon's obviously not what they're looking for because he's a Jag, but I just don't see it personally. 6 picks away. I'm not opposed to the double. I have been taking the double, I would say, kind of a lot recently. It just keeps falling to me. T. Higgins is such a T. Higgins 39. I mean, instantly stop talking about it. But T. Higgins in my drafts recently has been normally falling to the 5th round. I don't know if that's just like a variance thing for me that's been happening recently, where it's like T. Higgins is somehow making it to the 5th, or if that's like been happening in y'all's rooms too. Because like if T. Higgins is in the 5th round in like ever, I'm just slamming him there. That I will have 100% of T. Higgins if he makes it to my spot in the 5th round. No questions asked. Like it's T. Higgins. So I've had a lot of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins doubles recently because of this. Like it's happened in more than 3 drafts. Like maybe it's just lucky variance for me. Who knows? But yeah. I really want Zay Flowers here. Please. Nice. Roma Dunze. Nice. It's really good for us. Likely scenario, I feel like someone backdoors Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews here. It's too free and good, in my opinion. I will consider stacking Lamar with I mean, what's the point? You already know what's going down. He's gonna pick Mark Andrews. It's clear as day here. Me having unstacked Zay Flowers, completely fine. There will be a week at least where Zay Flowers produces wide receiver 1 numbers and Lamar Jackson isn't within the top 5 QBs. I would bet on that. Like Zay Flowers is just a game breaker, and he can win in multifaceted ways. So yes, Amari Cooper, Christian Kirk, Hollywood Brown. Am I crazy for just wanting to like slam Hollywood here? I don't think I'm crazy. I kind of feel crazy, but I don't think I'm crazy. I don't think I'm crazy, man. Rashee Rice's situation. It's not a good sitch. It does not seem like a good sitch, man. Like I feel like he's gonna get suspended at least, and in that period of time when he's suspended, if Hollywood Brown or another like X insert X player's name has a good week or two with Patrick Mahomes, that's really gonna kill Rashee Rice's value. Like, because Rashee Rice has already had to go through the getting bitched up for uh earned targets in the offense. He already had to go through that year one. Even though like if they decided to feed him, he would have been producing on a significantly higher rate. We all know this, you know. Rashee had the talent last year. He still has the talent, but it's just like a fraternity type ordeal where it's like you have to go through the bitching of being suspended, I guess. And I don't think he's gonna return to full production right away. If he does, that's amazing. Like I still have a fuck ton of him, but I think like going forward and into the year, we're just gonna see like more and more love for Hollywood Brown, and Hollywood Brown's just gonna get to continue to push up the board. And I mean, uh, if the Chiefs don't draft a wide receiver in the first 3 rounds, Hollywood's value is very secure, very secure next year. He should not be escaping like what the 3-4 turn if they don't draft a receiver in the top 3 rounds. Like, I think that's fair to say. He could legit provide 1,000 with 10 touchdowns with ease with Patrick Mahomes if he ends up being what he was at some point, you know, because I think the version of Hollywood we got last year was really hobbled, and clearly that's not the best Hollywood we've ever seen. The best Hollywood we've seen was with Lamar Jackson, and I don't think he's taken too many debilitating injuries to the point where he's not the same player anymore. He's still very young, and I think that he can produce very well with the best quarterback in the league. So that's my take. We're definitely eyeing up George Kittle here, Calvin Ridley here, Deontay Johnson, obviously Joe Burrow as well. I think is B Train the T Higgins? Yeah. Okay. So T Higgins is secured us on our next pick. So or not T Higgins. Joe Burrow is secured us at the 76. I don't. It would be very annoying if someone went Joe Burrow for no reason in this range. So we're gonna bet on them not doing that. The question is Deontay Johnson or Evan Ingram or Brock Bowers. It's kind of a toss up for me. I think Evan Ingram probably makes the most sense on this team. I really wanted to go George Kittle there. I think the most. And Evan Ingram has a route to earning the most targets on his team this year, while also, even if he doesn't do that, still producing over 1,000 yards. Like Evan Ingram gets used multifacetedly on that offense, gets lined up outside. I'm a big Evan Ingram guy. I also love Brian Thomas here. This is such a good range. This is a very nice range of the draft. Everything's priced very nice. You could pick anyone here. It's not really crazy, in my opinion at least. It's feels good. There's a bunch of feel good players here, where it's like you're okay. We're building out the core of our team. You don't feel like there's that big of bombs here, but inevitably these will be some pretty big bombs. So obviously going Joe Burrow here. Don't need to explain this one. Explaining Jamar Chase, I already explained this one pretty extensively. So I could talk about Evan Ingram a little more. We saw him earn the most targets on his team last year, which was very impressive with the cast that they had of Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, and sometimes Zay Jones. Zay Jones, I thought looked great when he was out there, but he could not stay healthy at all last year. And that was more or less the case for the entire room there, besides Evan Ingram, is like he was the only one that was really able to stay healthy. So you could account some of his production to the fact that he was the only one that was able to maintain his health the entire year. But he still looked incredible. And the ways that they were using him, most tight ends in the league don't get used like how he does. Most tight ends in the league don't get to line up as the X on their team. So most tight ends are either on the line or in the slot if they're lucky. He lines up as the X. So it's very clear that they want to get Evan Ingram good targets, and they use him more as a receiver than they do a tight end, to be honest. So being able to get wide receiver like points at tight end feels pretty nice. So I'm a big fan. And Xavier Worthy going to the 86, May Blossom, we have beef. It's official. That's my guy. So kind of need to fuck off. Really wanted Worthy on this team. It's unfortunate. 4 picks away. The boys have been flying through their picks. Love that. Absolutely love that. 2 picks away. I think Jalen Warren is just the pick here. Yeah, I think I feel the most comfortable with Jalen Warren here. Start getting in some RB points. Any of the receivers that you can 1-to-1 versus Jalen Warren, I don't see it. Jalen Warren easily could outscore Najee this year fantasy wise, and we know how Arthur Smith runs his offenses, which is it's insane that we're saying Arthur Smith's year for another year. How he has found himself another job in the NFL will always blow my mind. It doesn't make sense, but here we are, and he's gonna be giving his running backs a lot of touches, man. That's what it is, and I expect Jalen Warren to be a big benefactor of the Arthur Smith offense this year. Some smoke that we have been seeing is AD Mitchell potentially getting steamed up the draft board. Like people think that he's originally thought, including myself. I really want to go Zamir White here. I really want to go Zamir White here. I think I'm going to do it. We're going Zamir White. But AD Mitchell, according to Schefter, is going to be going in the first 20 picks and is going to line up to be the potential wide receiver 1 on a team. And that would be crazy. I would not see that one coming. I don't have a lot of AD Mitchell. I don't love AD Mitchell. As a talent, I think he's great. Maybe he wasn't putting in effort because he was like just bored with college. It's not the worst theory. You know, maybe he just wanted to be in the NFL already and knows that he's going to get drafted insanely high because of his talent. It's not a bad theory. But what if he just truly doesn't give a fuck and just is a low effort player. That's horrible for the NFL. He's not going to last long if that's the case, no matter how good he is. You know, like, I mean, unless you're, there is obviously a talent where you kind of have to put up with them. I would say George Pickens is the floor of that, where of like the floor of obnoxious personalities, where it's like, okay, dude, like you're pretty fucking good. Like you can be annoying. Like you can have that attitude. No one's gonna bitch you up. You're pretty good. So that's kind of how he rubs me with his low effort shit. But nine picks away. Feel pretty comfortable with where our team is, that we can really go any direction at our next pick. Just taking the best player available is probably going to be our best option, whoever that is. Not sure, but like there's a ton of receivers that I know we can comfortably force in the next 4 to 5 rounds. So not really too concerned with our 4 receiver count through 9 rounds. See Lad McConkey go at 112. There's a point in time in the big board where Lad McConkey fell to like 140 for no reason. Now, draft's 9 days away. Lad McConkey's 112. Go figure. And Troy Franklin, I mean, an insane fall on the big board, to be honest. He, at one point, was going in the 95 range. Now, 125. It's kind of crazy. He's like a lock to be round 1 or 2, I feel like. More likely round 2, probably. But if that's the case, like, he shouldn't be falling that much. Like, people like Gabe Davis are getting picked ahead of him. What are we doing? What are we doing? Not a Gabe Davis fan. If Gabe Davis was something, he would have been something with Josh Allen. Like let's get that over and done with. Josh Allen is fucking incredible. Stephon Diggs produced the best receiver year in football with Josh Allen, so it's kind of a Gabe Davis thing in my opinion. I think he's not going to be great on the Jaguars. I think he might have like a playable week here or there. Devin Singletary here I really like. But I also really like Gus Edwards. And I just kind of want to get some Troy Franklin. So we will be going Troy Franklin. I'm down for Singletary, down for Trevor Lawrence, I'm down for Gus Edwards, down for Brian Robinson. Oops. Yo, what's going on? Chase Brown, sure. Like it could be a Bengals thing, why not? He coincides with our spike weeks. Sometimes. Sometimes. Not always. Like, are people just bored with picking Trevor? Is that the case? He's pretty good at football, man. And he falls pretty regularly. Doesn't really make sense. Chase Brown goes, and now we're up to the decision of Gus or Trevor Lawrence. And notice to Gus, but you're not Trevor Lawrence, buddy. And I think Trevor Lawrence makes a lot of sense here. Like, because we just don't need to worry about QB at all. Don't have to bullshit or like squint to like try and make a second QB really good. I mean, obviously Derek Carr. But Trevor Lawrence and Derek Carr are not in the same tier. Let's make that clear at least. Not those players are not in the same tier. And if we're taking Evan Ingram at the 69, we're kind of betting on Trevor Lawrence to have a pretty nice year, or at least good upside weeks slash spike weeks. So that's the sedge. 2-3-5-1. Fuck with it. I do generally think that QBs are undervalued. For how much that they do for your team. So, and this year especially, man, like the highest QB is Josh Allen going at the end of the third now. Mind blowing. Mind blowing. Josh Allen should be going in the middle of the second. Josh Allen, like you could argue, should be going in the first round if you just break things down into a Moneyball type format. Like Josh Allen, you could mix in at the 1-2 turn and I wouldn't call you crazy. You could take Josh Allen at the 101 and I wouldn't. Okay, Josh Allen over CMC is probably crazy, but you could take Josh Allen at the 102 and I would not call you that insane. Like how much he's had 3 straight years of 400 fantasy points. No one has done that. There's not a single player in football that has come close to doing that. So the disrespect coming into this year, it's like, oh yeah, he lost Stephon Diggs. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? His floor is what, like 350 fantasy points? Like that's stupid. And they didn't ban the tush push. Come on now, people. Come on. I know how it's turned into a Josh Allen rant, but like, come on. Definitely gonna be targeting at least one receiver. Probably a running back too. Probably gonna go 1-1 in our next pick. The next set. I really could just go like double receiver too. We'll see. We'll see. There's a large clump of players that we're pretty okay with in this range. We're starting to see a little bit of receiver run happen. So I think we're gonna hop on that. And picking between Wicks and Michael Wilson doesn't feel great. I think Wilson has better contingent upside. Like if presumably MHJ or Trey McBride goes down, Michael Wilson is locked into like a 20% target share. If Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Romeo Dubs, Tucker Kraft, or Luke Musgrave goes down, that doesn't mean shit for Dontavian Wicks. Dontavian Wicks strictly has to win through talent. That room is very, very deep. So if Dontavian Wicks is him, you're him. Like, I mean, obviously in football, if you're him and you'll produce. But it's just a matter of how much of him are you. And Michael Wilson's path to success is much easier than Dontavian Wicks. There are a bunch of talented receivers in that Packers receiver room, for sure. 2 picks away. Low-key, a bit of a running back run happened with Ford, Charbonnet, McLaughlin. That's like almost an entire tier for me that just got like destroyed. So I think I'm going to go Kendra here because I still have a bunch of receivers left in my clump. I do miss out on Wicks here, but I think adding to the running back room is what we need to do for the team. I think Wicks is a better pick here, but I think Miller is a better pick on this team here. If that makes sense. And like their range of outcomes aren't that crazy. And there are definitely some upsides to Kendrick Miller versus Dontavian Wicks, who's a better player. You know, I'd probably rather have Wicks. I don't even know. Maybe like Kendrick Miller is really mispriced. If we're gonna start there, Kendrick Miller is very mispriced. I have him ranked higher in my rankings. Receiver is obviously the positional value that you want in best ball in this format that we play. So that's why Wicks is, the better pick. But Kendrick Miller, his dynasty value and his contingent upside next year, crazy. If Alvin Kamara ever gets hurt, dude, Kendrick Miller will eat this year. And obviously it's like, okay, well, he had a lot of opportunity last year. And it's like, No, he really didn't. He kind of got bitched by Jamal Williams, and it's like, well, why did he get bitched by Jamal Williams? Jamal Williams is horrible at football. Well, I know Jamal Williams is horrible at football. The Saints did not. The Saints had to fucking go through 16 weeks of anguish with Jamal Williams just fucking running their heads into a brick wall for them to understand that, hey, maybe we shouldn't give the ball to Jamal Williams anymore. And when they gave Kendra Miller and Kamara the time split, insane. Kendrick Miller produced as the running back one with a good amount of fucking yards per carry. Yards per carry over expected. Like they need to give him the opportunity. If the opportunity is there, Kendrick Miller will produce. He was so electric. I mean, TCU might just end up being the trap college for draft prospects. We've seen if Kendrick Miller ends up busting, we've seen too many great prospects come out of TCU just end up being horrible NFL players. The sample size will be too big if Kendrick Miller ends up being asked to. Like it's just it's too much at that point. There's too much facts to ignore. I really want K Dot in here. Fuck yeah. Let's go. Um I'm pretty sure I really want K Dot in here. But dude, the receiver teardrop is way more. I need to go either Roman or Demario here. I'm not. My heart wants K Dotton. That's not objectively the right pick here though. It's sad. I think we'll go Demario. I think Demario's safer than Roman Wilson. Could be a faded take. I don't know. That's what I believe. Demario Douglas has been pushed down an absurd amount for no reason. It's like, is it because of the Kendrick Bourne contract? I don't I don't know what it is. If someone could let me know why Demario Douglas has went from the 145 to the 170, I'd love to know. I mean, I was already taking him at like a 30% clip in the 140 range. Probably just gonna end up having around 50 to 60% of him in this tournament. Because in this range, I'm just gonna pick him every single time. Him to return 1-to-1 value in this range is so easy. He's locked into being at least the floor number 3 option over there. And they're either getting Drake May or Jaden Daniels. So the passing offense is going to look way different. And both of them, in my opinion, are capable passers. So I'm very excited for Demario Douglas. And I'm also very glad now that we went to Demario Douglas because I think multiple receivers went off there. Nope, just one. It was just Roman, but definitely glad we went to Mario. Unfortunately, both of the tight ends we wanted, Janu and Cade, both went. It kind of sucks. Isaiah Likely is the next best tight end for us, but I think we're going to be going running back here. I'm fine with Roshan. I like Audric Estime a lot as well. Oh, this is a hard one. Like, gun to my head, if you ask me who has a better year next year, I'd probably say, I'd probably say Audric Estime. I'd probably say Audric Estime. Fuck. I don't know. The bad part about this is though is like I can't cook up a great landing spot for Audric Estime. There's probably a lot of good ones that I just can't come up with right now. I really love him as a talent though. I think he's locked into being a floor round 3 pick. I think he's a round 2 talent in the NFL draft. He'll probably go in round 3. And I think by the end of the year, he'll have a significant role somewhere. He's very, very good at football. Audric Estime is very good at football. There's a lot of movement in running back free agency this year, which definitely speaks to how not great they think the class is, I think. And Audric Estime, I think, is the potential RB1 out of this class. There's players like Jonathan Brooks, and there's not really much else after that. So I think Audric Estime has a chance to legit be the RB1 out of this class. I think the running back pool actually does go somewhat deep, but there's going to be a lot of busts because there are a lot of players that have played against subpar talent their entire careers. And then now, when they make it to the big leagues, the NFL, they're going to get bitched up really hard. And some of them are probably just going to end up not being great at football, end up going to be practice squad players. Multiple picks that are multiple players that are definitely getting drafted, with some sort of ADP right now. That's just the case. I'm drafting them too, man. Like we just have no idea to know. But in terms of safety, I feel very comfortable that Audric Estime's floor as a rookie NFL player is the RB2 somewhere. Wherever he gets drafted, they're not drafting him to be like a platoon RB3. They're drafting him to eventually take up a lot of workload. Like, because if he gets drafted with a third round pick, that they clearly like give a fuck about you. So you're going to get the opportunity. If you end up being someone like if you end up being a round 3 bust, you end up being a round 3 bust. But if you go in round 3 as a running back, you're kind of expected to be good at football and you're going to get carries. So it's just my take. Just my take on the situation. And if we get Roshan here, I will be ecstatic. That would be great. I'm very down for Roshan. I think his contingent value is great. I think the Bears and Caleb Williams will score like a pretty decent amount of touchdowns this year. I don't know how crazy the offense is going to go, but I think we'll have a lot of opportunity for sure. Big Bears guy here. Pretty excited for Caleb. So take this with a grain of salt for sure, because it's a bit of a Bears homer here. But I definitely like Roshan's value, especially compared to Ray Davis. Like, I think I'm Roshan. I think I'm Roshan for sure over that. But the question is, am I a tight end here? Do I need to go tight end here? I think the answer is no. I think the answer is Roshan. Still. Because I do not respect DeAndre Swift that much, and that may end up biting me this year, at least in the big board, because I think he's going like way too high. I think he could potentially produce 1-to-1 value, but I don't think his path is that easy. And there's a lot of talent in the Bears backfield. So I guess like in this, there it's only the scenario where he comes in and is the overwhelming workhorse that he pays off that value, which I just don't see being the case. So Tucker Kraft, Chigo Conquo. I mean, I think I'm a Tucker Kraft guy here. Think I'm a Tucker Kraft kind of guy. You could argue Javon Baker. You could argue Izzy. Izzy's ADP is kind of low though, so I'm down to push Izzy no matter what, actually. So scratch that. But good Chig argument. Chig has the potential to be the floor 3 on his team with like pretty decent spike week upside, because like Big Mayo just lets it rip, dude. Like he just lets it fucking rip. I'm a big fan of the Titans' overall spike week value in fantasy between Ridley, D Hop, and Chig, honestly. Like, I think those players are the type that are better in best ball, and they're going to produce some really obnoxious weeks. I have a feeling. It feels like it's going to be one of those big play offenses, man. Like, Levis has a cannon. He has a cannon. It cannot be understated. He can throw it fucking like he has a Josh Allen type arm. Not as good as Josh Allen, but a Josh Allen type arm. Like if you had to give him a throw power rating of like 90 or like 0 to 99, dude, he's at least a 95. Very excited for the Titans offense this year, for sure. Currently 2672. Multiple skinny stacks. Nothing crazy though. No double stacks. No backdoor running backs. Just Trevor Lawrence to Evan Ingram, Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase. Those are our carries. I would I would have liked in hindsight to probably like there's a pick here that should be Christian Kirk in hindsight. Like if I went Christian Kirk here instead of Hollywood, this team looks a lot prettier on paper because then I'd have the Jaguars potential 1-2 double with as well Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. But I don't think it's bad to only have skinny stacks. I don't think there's any sort of substance that proves that having like multiple on the same team is like the way to go. Definitively. I'm a big Ben Sinnott guy. I'm not going to go him here, but I've definitely could queue him up because I want 3 tight ends. I kind of want Izzy. I think I'm going to go Izzy. It's either Izzy or Will Shipley there for me. And then I'm going to go Ben Sinnott and then go a receiver as my last pick, most likely. Because I don't want to potentially miss out on Ben here. Big Ben Sinnott fan. I think wherever he goes, he'll get targets for sure. Definite potential spike week tight end. Very good athleticism. Very good athleticism out of Ben Sinnott. He plays like a big receiver, to be honest. Like, I was gonna say something crazy. I'll reel it back in. I was gonna say Walmart Mark Andrews, but comparing Benson out to Mark Andrews in any facet is just ridiculous. But athletically, they're kind of similar. So that's where you get the Walmart comparison. But should probably hold our horses there. Like I fuck with Jacob Cowan, I fuck with Johnny Wilson, and then any of these three, I'm also down for if either of these two go. But I need to stop taking Brendan Rice, Luke McCaffrey, and Jamari Thrash because if you want some free alpha, I have 40% of all of those players. All of them. At least. I have the most, I will say, of Luke McCaffrey. There's just there's no outcome in my mind where I don't see Luke McCaffrey producing in the NFL year 1 even. Honestly. I don't know where he's going to get drafted. He's going to get drafted obviously. If Luke McCaffrey goes undrafted, that blow my mind. I expect him to be a day 3 pick. Sure. But his low owned upside combined with his like implied upside if he actually gets a role on a team, It's pretty game breaking, to be honest. Just me though. Just me. Just a big Luke McCaffrey fan here. I've liked what I've seen. I've liked what I've seen. I'm more of a Johnny Wilson fan than Jacob Cowan. Um, if Johnny Wilson, I don't even know how that would work. I don't know how that would work because like if Johnny Wilson gets drafted and everyone assumes he's a wide receiver, but then during training camp they're like, yeah, like this dude's starting a tight end. Would they change him from a receiver to a tight end, or would I in specifically like the big board where I was in a tournament before he was even drafted, would I get to keep him as a receiver? It's an interesting one because that definitely makes me think less of him if I would potentially. Well, I mean, it would make me think more of him definitely because he would be getting graded as a tight end. That'd be sweet. But on this team, I want him as a receiver. So it's an interesting one, you know. I don't know how that stuff works. I think it varies pretty hard by site. I know the 1 year, I think it was FFPC. I say I know, and then instantly after that say I think. um, FFPC changed Taysom Hill from a tight end to a quarterback, and it just fucked over everyone that drafted him. Because obviously you want Taysom Hill to get graded as a tight end. Obviously. Last pick here. Last pick here, guys. Made it all the way through 20 rounds. What a journey. What a journey we've been on. 6 picks away. Just waiting to slam either Jacob Cowan or Johnny Wilson. Likely Johnny Wilson. Potentially Jacob Cowan. Dude, this has been taking a fucking minute. To get through this last round, it's probably been the most strenuous one of the draft. No one gives a fuck. Everyone's like, dude, I'll just auto the last one. Not us, baby. Not us. Not us. 20 rounds of straight dog behavior. Locked the fuck in. Not missing anything. It's not always like this. And I'm only doing one table. Like this is light work. Dude, is everyone going to take 30? There we go. Bitch, and you shall receive. There we go, boys. But now we have a decision. I still really haven't made up my mind. Dude, fuck. Oh my god. I'm gonna be the one that takes 30 seconds too, ironically. Dude. I really don't know. Fuck it. Fuck it. We want Jacob Cowan. Fuck it. Whatever. Some people say he's the next Tank Dell. I don't know, man. I really do like both of them. I do like mixing in both of them. The answer might have just been fuck Ben Sinnott, take both of them, but I like Ben Sinnott with the third tight end security. So Zay Flowers, Troy Franklin, Michael Wilson, Demario Douglas, Jacob Cowan, Evan Ingram, Tucker Kraft, Ben Sinnott highlighting the Trevor Lawrence, Evan Ingram, and Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase stacks. It's a 2783 build. It's another video. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Peace till next one.